So let's give another example to see what I mean. The 12 points of rotation equal the chromatic note wheel. So picture the Earth viewed from space with a 12-note compass overlying it. So this is the 12 notes. We have 12 notes. That's our degree of rotation. Here's the entire, our fretboard mapped out because we have multiple strings on the fretboard, unlike the piano. And this is the continent. We're imagining this is the continent underneath. So that this is us looking at latitude and longitude, but it's not connected to the planet. It's hovering over the planet. The planet is the green space. So then each point represents one of the 12 chromatic notes, A through G sharp. And so that's 12 notes. When you change key, you rotate this wheel, but the internal modal framework, the continents, remain the same. So what happens as the world spins? Well, our fretboard is on top of it. So as the world spins, this shape is moving up. Notice over here that this shape, if I was to measure the distance from E to B, I can say that's a 5, 6, 7, a 7-note away distance. That's great to memorize, but it's not really helpful in context now because although that distance is the same, it doesn't really help me in the context of the continents as they're currently positioned. And in Western music, we're always working on 7-note collections that are basically parallel to each other. So the important thing now is not the relationship between E and B, but the relationship between F and C. The important thing now is not the relationship between F and C, but between F sharp and C sharp. See how the important thing is the related continents. The notes, if you memorize all the notes on the fretboard, that could be a good thing to do, but it's really only telling you like where your point of focus should be so that you can locate where the continents are. Once you find the continents, it would be much more optimal not to communicate by note names anymore, but by communicate by the continent names that stay fixed. Let me show you what I mean. This is the same thing. We're going to go through the 12 different rotations, this time looking at a fretboard that's in the key of A. We're in the key of collection of notes related to A major, and then we'll go through from A to G sharp, all the collection of notes, and you'll see how the shapes are going to shift to the right. So the red happens to be the 1, 3, and the 5 are going to be the colored notes. We'll talk more about that later, but you can see how they shift up. So what is important here? Here's the note name, A, which I'm going to call 1 from a number system, and here's the continent name from a Nashville number system, a 1, or from the Greek name, an Ionian. And you can see the relationship here to this is going to be an F sharp, and that's the note name. The continent name is Aeolian, and it would be a 6 from a Nashville number system. Now let's say I move up to the next collection of notes. The world has spun. So now the collection of notes is around this A sharp. But that's not the important thing. The important thing is the continent is now the Ionian continent, which from a Nashville number system is the 1. Notice that this A over here, you saw this relationship between the A. That's great, but that's not really important anymore because this A was the Ionian continent, but now because the world spun, this A is now the Locrian continent, or continent number 7. So what I want to do is use the note names to say, look, I'm going to say that I'm in the key or the point of rotation of an A sharp now, so that I can then locate the continent of the Ionian, or Nashville note system number 1, and then everything is relative to that position. That's the way we want to see the fretboard. See, if I move up here, now that A is in the ocean. It's no longer even there. The Ionian is what I want to see. Now I'm in the key of B, or the collection of notes, 7 notes from B major. So here's that same position this way. The note A is not the focal point anymore. Now we're going to go up to C. So now we're in the 7-note collection of C major. This A is still there now, but it's no longer the Ionian. Now it's the Aeolian, or the 6th. We want to see it as the 6th. That's how I want to name it. And now the Ionian is over here at the 1. If we go then to the next one, that would be at C sharp would be the Ionian. So the A is now in the ocean. The A is not even relevant, or it's part of the ocean in this context. We go to the D. Now the A is in this 7 collection of notes, but the A doesn't help us if you just call it an A typically. We want to say, no, that's the 5th. That's the Mixolydian node now. That's the Mixolydian continent. Why? Because the world turned. We're on the 6th degree of rotation out of 12, which is the collection of notes around the D major, which means that the D is now the Ionian or the 1st, which makes the A the 5th. See, so if I remember all the notes, it doesn't help me because it's not in context. The notes are going to tell me the context so I can memorize the relative positions of the nodes. So again, if I go up here, now I'm on D sharp or the 7th degree of rotation, A is in the ocean. Now I'm on the 8th degree of rotation, this is the Ionian. Now the A is in there, but now it's continent number 4. It's a different continent, same location, different continent. It's the Lydian continent. So now we're in rotation 9. The A is there, but now it's the Phrygian or the 3 continent. So now we're in rotation 10, F sharp. This is the Ionian. The A is now in the ocean. Now we're in rotation 11, the G. This is the Ionian. The A is there, but now it's the Dorian. So you see what the point is, that if we're basically normal people are learning the fretboard just like all the notes and all the relationships from all the notes with no context. And if you learn it with no context, it's gonna be way harder. You're gonna get frustrated because it's not the optimal way to learn it, and because you're not actually achieving any goal. You're not seeing it in relation to the notes. There are always 7 note collections in Western music, and that's what you want to see it from. So use the degrees of rotation and then try to name everything that you're doing by basically the Nashville number system, 1 through 7, which is basically the node system. So when you say you're on the A on the top string of the guitar on the 5th fret, you might say that, no, I'm on the Aeolian node. I'm on the 6th of the top string of the guitar, which happens to be on the 5th fret. So try to switch your terminology, because that is saying it within context. That's going to be the key. So we don't want to be in space. I want to then go on to the actual continent and no longer have the grid from space, which is the note names. The note names are the grid from space that aren't connected to the planet. I want to know the latitude and longitude as I'm on the planet, and I'm actually rotating with the planet. When I'm playing Zelda, I'm on the planet. I want latitude and longitude from the perspective of me as I rotate around with it on the planet, right? It doesn't help me to look at latitude and longitude from the perspective of space as the planet rotates underneath a grid through 12 degrees of rotation, right?